connecting to the real nerds is so easy. You can go to our website, realnerdspodcast.com. You can like us on Facebook. We have a Twitter account, @RealNerds. We also have Instagram. You can call us, 720-6nerds5. You want to email us? You can do that too, realnerds@gmail.com. Thanks for listening, and enjoy the show. Welcome to Real Nerds Podcast, unofficially the official podcast at Denver Comic Con 2017 and beyond. I am Ryan. With me always is
James
and
Brad.
And good news, guys. Denver Comic Con has announced their schedule for 2017.
Yeah.
It is June 30th through July 2nd.
It's a little later
A little later.
year.
But remember what we were told is that convention centers booked so far in advance.
Oh, yeah.
Is that they can't really cherry pick their weekends yet.
Yeah.
But that's all right. Still a good weekend just before the holidays, so people have the time off, so I'm sure people will be able to get out there and support them.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if the attendance continues to grow next year.
Yeah, and I was just going to mention as a side note, 114,900 people attended this year's Denver Comic Con.
That's insane. It's so many people.
That is a lot of people. So congratulations to Denver Comic Con.
Yeah.
With their continued hard work.
Yeah.
We like to see movies all over town, but the place we go see them is the Alamo Drafthouse in Littleton. Here is what's playing at the Alamo Drafthouse this week.
Hello.
Hi, I'm Kevin Smith.
Hi, I'm Leonard Maltin.
Hi, I'm Mark Hamill.
Hi, I'm Elijah Wood.
This is Seth Rogen.
I'm Christopher Mintz-Plasse.
I'm Martin Starr.
Welcome to the Alamo Drafthouse.
Maybe. Sorry, I thought I had the right email up, and I do not.
Oh, I was going to say, after that clunky transition, I figured you were going to just rock it.
I know. That's embarrassing. I don't even have it.
Really?
Do we not get the August one?
I don't know.
I don't think we have, actually.
No, actually, I can't say anything about it. So
you have one job.
I know. So
I can look at the calendar. For
so what I can tell you is that Alamo has announced that the Colorado Anime Film Festival will be at the Alamo Drafthouse. It will be September 9th through the 11th. It's the first kind in Colorado. Tickets are $7 and are on sale now. And you can check the website for their first wave of screenings.
I can tell you that on the 18th in August they're showing Southland Tales with Richard Kelly, and on the 17th or on the 19th, one of the two, they're showing Donnie Darko with Richard Kelly. I have tickets to Southland Tales because Steve convinced me I need to rewatch what I genuinely argue is the worst movie I have ever seen.
I like Steve a lot, and I think he's very knowledgeable in movies, but I don't trust his taste in movies.
Hold on. Steve had not seen that movie before. It was like I think he's seen it now, but he and I have not had a chance to talk. So I'm not going to go out on a limb and say that Steve liked Southland Tales. Genuinely, one of the worst movies I have ever watched. It is and it's not even like, I mean, it's Richard Kelly's fault. I think there's some really cool ideas in that movie, but it's a mess.
You are trapped in a chair with a gun to your head. Do you watch Southland Tales or Creature?
I totally watch Creature. Couple of reasons. One, Creature is shorter. Because the original,
tactical, I like it.
Yeah, the original, right. The original cut of Southland Tales, I think, at Cannes was a little under 3 hours long. And Creature, as terrible as it is, has some funny parts. It has some grotesque nudity. By grotesque, I mean just poorly shot and uneventful. Creature's watchable, by comparison. Whereas Southland Tales is so pretentious that it's really difficult to sit through. I don't know why I bought tickets.
Well, you'll find out.
But you should come with me to see Southland Tales.
You know what I have? I have an app where I can bring up what's playing. The craft dinner on Tuesday is Spaceballs, and that starts at 7:30. The kids camp this week is The Dark Crystal. Is that a kids movie? Yes,
technically.
The Civic Center film series is Pee-wee's Big Adventure, my favorite Tim Burton film. And that's on Wednesday. Suicide Squad opens on Thursday, and Brad will be there.
I'll be there.
Fantastique is Legend, maybe one of Tom Cruise's least successful films.
And Ridley Scott's, for that matter.
Yep. Shot very well.
Oh, beautiful. If you want to look at flowers, that's your movie.
Yeah, pretty much the rest of their schedule. Oh, Afternoon Tea is Cold Mountain on Sunday.
Oh,
And Die Another Day is Maximum Bondage. And Wonder Woman, the animated series, the animated movie, is playing on Sunday as well.
I always think of Afternoon Tea as being like a somewhat Britishy kind of a series, but I guess it's more romance because Cold Mountain is not a British.
It is not,
Yeah.
because isn't Nicole Kidman in that? So an Australian or Nicole Kidman, New Zealander.
No idea. It's Luke. It's Luke, not Perry. It's
Edwards.
no.
I don't know.
That the other dude. Anyway, it's the other dude's like British, I think. The guy from Sherlock Holmes. The secondary guy from Sherlock Holmes.
Jude Law.
Yes, right. Not
So
Luke.
Luke,
Right.
this guy, we do a movie podcast. Doesn't know anyone who's in a movie.
Yeah. Jude Law. It's a Jude Law movie. I think he's British. So
Speaking of which,
maybe that's worked.
every week we go see a new movie and we podcast our experience of the world. This week we saw Jason Bourne.
Yep.
Stay tuned to the end of the show. We'll review it. Except Brad, he didn't have a chance to see it. He's been
What?
busy.
Really?
Yep.
Oh. Are you just protesting it because you hate that title so much?
No, I mean, if I had the extra income and the time,
Right,
I
no,
might have checked it out. But
Yeah.
nope, I was marketing all week, so
Oh, okay, cool.
But I turned to Brad to find out what's going on around town. Brad, what's going on around town?
I will tell you what movies I am going to check out this week.
Hopefully something on Saturday.
Yeah, on Saturday at the Esquire is the 1989 Batman. It's one of my all-time favorite movies. One of your least favorite movies of all time, of course.
Not least. It's just I have issues with it. I don't think it's that bad.
And
In Batman canon, it's not that good.
I'd say if there was only one Batman movie to exist to show people what Batman is, that would be it.
More so than The Dark Knight. I think The Dark
Yeah.
Knight captures Batman's spirit better.
Totally.
I don't think it captures the comics as well.
I would disagree that the 89 Batman doesn't capture the comics at all.
Yeah, it's like
It captures the 80s comics really well.
I don't remember the Joker ever pulling out a gun like 10 feet long in the comics, but you know what? I digress. I don't know.
especially in 80s books like The Dark Knight Returns, which
Well,
The
that
Dark
kind of
Knight is
stuff's
more
like in the 50s and 60s books. So.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's really more like a.
So I'm saying
it's a
like
slapsticky.
it's a collage of all different eras
Shit.
of Batman.
Yeah.
I do like when the Joker shows up in the museum and is painting everything to Prince.
Really? Because that's genuinely one of my least favorite moments.
I'm
in that
just
movie.
kidding.
Oh, okay.
I do like when he says, "You never hit a guy with glasses, would you?" And then he gets punched.
Yeah.
That
And he spits out the fake teeth,
yeah.
the Chatterbox teeth.
My least favorite moment is actually when like Batman drops down in the alley and puts his hand up like Darth Vader and catches bullets somehow. I hate that moment. I hate it.
Catches bullets?
Yeah,
He
yeah,
deflects
he, like-
them with a spatula.
No, he like puts up his hand and like deflects them, but it's like this Darth Vader-esque thing. It's just stupid. No.
But anyways, what else is happening, Brad?
If you go to the drive-in, they're still playing Ghostbusters, Star Trek Beyond, in the Shallows.
I might. Cool. Maybe I'll ask my wife if she wants to do that. That's a kind of cool lineup.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna go maybe Tuesday.
You could take the kid to that, and
Yeah.
he would not pay attention during the things that are not worth paying attention to.
Yeah, I forgot to mention last week. I'll talk about this week about how cool my kid is.
Okay.
Is that a new segment? How cool is Ryan's kid this
How
week?
cool.
Hell yeah.
What inappropriate film did Ryan show the kid this week?
They're not inappropriate. I don't show those anymore because he knows what's going on now.
Right, yeah, he's starting to get smart, so he's like,
I mean, and when I figured it out, I was playing Until Dawn, and that dude with the chainsaw shows up, and he was scared. I'm like, oh, I can't watch horror films around him anymore.
This isn't really a film thing, but at the Bug Theater on Friday, they're doing a thing called Under the Bug Top, which is like a circus carnival, and it's to help raise funds for the theater. So if you want to come to a little mini carnival, you can do that.
Cool.
I think it's like $5. And then next Tuesday, the 11th, is the next open screen night at the Sea Film Center. That'll be at 7 o'clock, $5. And then this Sunday, the 7th, is the 48-hour film project screenings.
Yes, and I don't know if people have seen them. Have you sold out of your shirts yet?
We only ordered ones for people who wanted to wear them to the premiere.
Mhm.
So we'll make another run eventually. But
Your posters are sweet. They have like a cool 80s video feel to them, like
yeah,
like a videotape.
yeah, especially that red one.
Yeah, it reminds me of the old TriStar ones. that the Ghostbusters had. You know what?
Yeah.
Yeah, obviously you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, if you're like 34 years old, you
Yeah.
understand what we're talking about.
Yeah, it's awesome. So can't wait to see it, Brad.
Yeah, I can't wait to show it.
Hopefully, if my wife isn't working, I will be there.
Cool.
Maybe I'll bring my kid, so he can watch your film. And,
Oh, good.
and
Yeah.
I'm sure you'll really appreciate that.
Yeah, make sure he's as distracting as possible.
All right, cool.
Yeah, just sit up front and let him run up on stage as much as he needs to.
I will.
Yeah.
I'll let him bring his cars and stuff.
Especially when Brad's up there.
Yeah.
Kellen, go get Brad.
So make sure you go out there and support Brad.
Yeah.
And you'll have a limited edition amount of those posters to get, right?
Yeah, I made 30 of them. 10 are the red one, 20 are the pink one, and I think 15 of those are for cast and crew, so the rest are up for grabs
Cool.
for fans.
So I didn't lie when I posted that earlier.
And we'll be signing them at the after party. I think at Three Lions Pub they're doing it
Oh, cool.
down the street. So
Dope.
yeah,
Wait, it's Sunday? What time does it start?
our block is 8 p.m., but it starts at 11.
Ooh, I might be able to go then.
Please do.
Because even if my wife works, I think she's off at 8, so...
It says $9, but like after the $4 service fee.
But if you sneak in through a
it's-
side door, you don't have to pay anything. Ha ha!
Yeah.
Fuck supporting Denver film.
Yeah.
You know,
There
sorry.
actually aren't a lot of side doors at the Sea Film Center, so good luck. It's kind of one main door.
Cool.
Anyway, sorry, I interrupted you. You were actually going to say something about the price or something like that.
Yeah, it says $9 for one block, but after the $4 service fee online, it's like 13. So
That's
Oh, okay.
Yeah, happens.
FYI,
Sure.
so
Hey, they
you're not
got it.
surprised.
But they got to pay for the space and stuff. That's fine.
Yeah.
Cool.
Cool.
So let's unspool some movie news, James.
Sure.
It's real news.
Only one thing happened this week. No, that's not entirely true. There's
like
a
it.
few things, but
Wait,
there's
I want you to start thinking of headlines. The Rocketeer blasts off with a new vision or something.
holy shit. So genuinely, if you'd asked me what chances I thought this could ever happen, I would have told you completely zero. I think that I eventually thought that someone at Disney would wake up and they'd be like, "Hey, we have this franchise. We should reboot this, and that'll be cool." But what we're hearing this week is not that they're necessarily... it's a reboot, but it's like a sequel-y reboot. So they're not necessarily recasting Cliff Secord. They may, because they may need somebody who's in the right age group or whatever. But it's not necessarily going to be a movie about Cliff Secord. This is like the best of all possible, outcomes, other than them making a sequel in '95, right? Because for me, as somebody who genuinely loves Joe Johnston's The Rocketeer,
I know.
and who thinks it's really one of the best cast comic book movies I've ever seen.
I forget where I put it on my comic book movie list.
Way
but,
tuu low.
But you're basically like, fuck you, Ryan. You know
it
what
was-
you're talking about.
It was one of the ones where I was like, dude, this movie is so solid and good. It's got a couple of things, just because it's an early '90s and cheaper end Disney movie. Like some of the effects and stuff like that don't hold up.
I think it's fun.
Yeah. Oh,
I'll
yeah.
say that.
Right, but if you look at how great Alan Arkin is in that movie, just look at him. Like that movie is fantastic.
Fantastic. It's good.
Yeah. No, it's really good.
I mean, I watched it like 2 months ago, so it's pretty fresh in my memory.
Yeah, no, and I watch it, once or twice a year. So, like seriously, because I love that movie.
Yeah, it's good.
And Billy Campbell is good. Jennifer Connelly, young Jennifer Connelly, is amazing. I can't even think of anybody else today who you could cast as Betty or Jenny in the movie. So for them, basically what they're saying is they're gonna make a sort of sequel where a couple of years have passed and the Rocketeer has gone missing while he was fighting Nazis, and this reportedly young black woman sort of stumbles upon it and becomes the New York Rocketeer. So it leaves room for them to have cameos with some of the old characters, whether it's the same actors or not doesn't really matter. But it means that they can go make a cool, badass adventure movie, which I think that comic book can do.
Yeah. And reading it, it's just cool because sometimes you miss fun. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
So I hope it's fun.
Well, and I've talked before about how, especially when the whole "hey, let's make another Indiana Jones" thing comes up, I'm always like, dude, just go make fun adventure movies, right? Indiana Jones is an homage to a whole genre of movies that no one's really making, and The Rocketeer falls into that camp. The one problem with it is that too often, I think they're they end up being way too expensive. But you can make a movie like The Rocketeer relatively cheap.
I think so too.
Especially if you try to shoot, as much of the flying practically as you can, and so it's not like a whole bunch of CG, and you just plot the movie out in a way where you keep it as reined in as you need to. Because the original Rocketeer is not a bombastic, crazy, like, world-trekking story, and it doesn't need to be, right? Like, it should be a story about Nazis secretly trying to invade America, or just something silly and fun like that. And then you just write a whole bunch of good little scenes with these characters and their funny little adventure.
I agree.
And
Hopefully they fight dinosaurs.
Just kidding. Here's the thing.
They adapt Cargo of Doom.
I don't think that dinosaurs in The Rocketeer is the worst thing ever. It's just the way Cargo of Doom did it that I was just so furious with. Yeah, man. Damn it, Mark Verminder. Like, why? Or no, Mark Waid. That was Mark Waid. But I mean, I'm of course excited, and I want to see what they do. I never thought this would have happened. I thought they would have rebooted the whole thing, and and I would have been happy with that too. But this is like a semi dream come true. We'll see who actually makes the movie. Yeah, I think it's cool. Especially in this age of comic book movies, it seems like you should be able to do this well. And they've got all the Marvel people there on their team. Like, so theoretically, they will have somebody who knows how to write a good story, do the script. Like, that would be awesome. Yeah. So anyway,
Next up, they're going to reboot The Shadow.
I'd be okay.
You're mad about The Shadow where it was, too. The Shadow's not that good, Jim.
The Shadow's not that good.
Did you listen to How This Get Made?
I did.
Shadow?
I did listen to that. Let's get made about The Shadow.
I'm like, I got to watch The Shadow.
I can lend you the Blu-ray because I own it.
See, Sam Raimi was supposed to do The Shadow.
Yeah.
I can see him doing that.
And they're like, no, we don't like you. So then he went and made Darkman, and Darkman's way better.
Yeah, Darkman's better, for sure.
Because it has a line where Liam Neeson's like, just take the fucking elephants.
I think that The Shadow, like, there were things that they were talking about on The Shadow where I'm like, well, I mean, like, their inability to follow that plot is, to me, kind of staggering. But whatever. I guess I'm one of the few people who would have clapped in the audience when they asked, like, hey, who understands what happens in this movie? I'm like, I get it. Like,
is the villain really a knife?
No, the villain is Shiwan Khan, the last descendant of Genghis Khan. He has a magical knife it's like a telepathically controlled knife that he flies around, and yeah, I mean that totally happens. Okay. And yes, they did run out of money, and at the end there is a whole action scene that's like in a crazy Hall of Mirrors like psychedelic sequence. Yeah, I mean there's some weird moments. Also, their inability to understand how he makes a building disappear and why also flabbergasts me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's
a shitty
Paul's
movie.
problem.
What?
I think that's only Paul's problem.
Well, yes,
I think
yes,
got
he
it.
was. Yeah, he had a really hard time with it.
It's not a good movie.
It's not a great movie. It's
Yeah.
a fun movie.
So it goes excellent, great, good. Then below
Fair.
that's not so good, and that's
Then-
where I
then
put
fair.
The Shadow.
Yeah, no, it's in okay, all right, fine. If we're looking at it in comic book terms, yes, there's a few pages with some ink and like the spine
and
is tearing
torn
apart a
pages
little
and missing panels.
bit. No, fair, not garbage. Anyway, a court ruled this week that the movie Lockout is a total ripoff of Escape from New York, which made me remember that I own Lockout. I should watch that movie again, but it's totally true. Like, even when I saw it, I was like, "Oh shit, yeah!" Like, this is.
I think you said that on the podcast.
Yeah, like it's Escape from New York in space.
So maybe they listened to Real Nerds, and John Carpenter's like, "Hey,
Wait a second.
wait a second."
Yeah. Fortunately, he will never be able to sue that anyone else's movie is Ghosts of Mars.
That is Jason Statham's worst movie, by the way, and
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying.
Avengers Infinity War is going to be called Avengers Infinity War. Moving on.
I know. They're like, it's a new title. I'm like, they just got rid of the part 1.
I know. Yeah, it's just like the news is that Avengers Infinity War Part 2 will be called something else, which I expected them to say, like, to do it like Infinity Gauntlet and then Infinity War or something like that. just so that people understood.
Yeah, I mean, reading the interview with the directors, they just said it's a different movie.
yeah,
So maybe it's going to be like Secret Invasion or something.
or Fallout. Well, it's got to be. It's got to still be a Thanos movie, right? Like Thanos will still take 2 movies, right?
I don't know.
Interesting.
I don't know.
Maybe not. All right.
Well, I mean, I guess the first one is him in space, and then the second one's him on Earth.
Oh,
So,
okay. Yeah,
I mean,
that's
I
what
don't know.
that's what I was
not
expecting.
sure.
So, in other cool, I think, awesome news, Joe Carnahan has fallen into the Uncharted movie role writer guy. I like Joe Carnahan a lot. I think
Wrote
he's
the Gray?
Yeah, he's a really good writer and director. I think if he took that movie and made a fun movie out of it, I think he could do a really good job. So it's just a question of whether or not he tries to fuck it up.
I want to see an Uncharted movie bad, but the story's been told so well in the games, it scares me.
I agree. So I would want them to tell something different. Like don't go rehash one of the stories.
Oh, no.
they had.
I think if they just tell a different Nathan adventure, then it'll work.
Yeah, and then you've got to look at it as 2 different characters and 2 different sets of characters to some degree. But for me, I think going back to the adventure story thing, right? Like this is a chance to make a really cool, great adventure movie. I do think that you could restrict it to some extent and keep the budget low. And for people like my mom who are never going to play the video game, like this is a chance because I've told her for years. Anytime that game came up and I would talk a lot about it because I would get obsessed, she'd roll her eyes and be like, video games. And I'd be like, Mom, one day they're going to make a movie and it's going to be your favorite movie of all time. Like, as a woman who owns and has worn out her DVD copy of Sahara, she will adore Uncharted.
Yeah.
It will. I mean, if they do a half-assed job, it'll be better than Sahara.
Yeah,
and
you
I
hear
like
that,
Sahara.
Carol? Uncharted.
Right. It's so good.
Just go on YouTube, Carol, and watch the videos, the movies.
Oh man,
Uncharted.
they're just so good. So yeah. Anyway, hopefully that'll do well. Beetlejuice 2 is maybe not happening, says Michael Keaton.
Who cares?
So none of us will give a damn, but someone somewhere does.
I wanted to see it.
Did you?
I was curious.
Yeah. I mean,
I think people overrate the first one. That first one's not that good.
yeah.
Beetlejuice is amazing in it. He's in it for 5 minutes.
I don't know. I never found it that good.
Nice fucking model. Meow, meow.
Yeah.
Rated PG.
Let's make an animated cartoon out of that.
Yep. I know. That's why I think.
Yeah, that's so
That's why I think
weird.
people so misinterpret who Beetlejuice is. He's a fucking asshole. He's not nice in that movie.
Yeah. It's pretty bad.
She wants to know if I can be scary. That part is great. His monologue is great there.
Yeah.
Not to mention, I've seen The Exorcist 360 times. And it keeps getting funnier every time I see it. Not to mention, you're talking to a dead guy.
For a guy who doesn't like that movie, you sure are able to quote like verbatim.
Hey, he knows
I don't
all
know if
8
that's
lines.
I don't know if that's verbatim. It's pretty close.
Yeah. Anyway, I think that's pretty much news. Unless you want to talk about the trailer for The Legend of the Hidden Temple or the trailer for the Great Wall.
Oh, yeah, that was
and how
controversial.
kind of racist it is.
Why is it racist? Who cares?
No, this one I'll totally agree. Like it gets back to it's really unfortunate that there aren't any popular Asian American actors in Hollywood
And is that
you can
anybody's
bank on
really
a movie.
fault?
It's the fault of the system as a whole.
I just
and
want
the
to
way
say
that
that
it
movie
creates
was made
stigma.
by a Chinese film company, directed by a Chinese guy.
Yes.
With-
But in order for them to make a lot of money in America, they have to put a white guy in the
And
lead
will that
role.
movie make a lot of money? That's what I'm saying. It's
Well, that's the thing to figure out, sure. My point is, if you had somebody, let's say that if you had a like dramatic, Jackie Chan type, like on that level, right, or even close, somebody who was dramatically respected that you could put in that role and have them do like a really cool, grounded action movie and have it derive sales, you would have cast that person instead.
I don't know. I'm not trying to sound like an asshole here,
No, I know.
but I mean, what is there anybody out there? And you can write into realnerds@gmail.com that looks at a movie, and if it looks badass and there's an Asian dude in the lead, you're like, fuck that movie. I want to see Matt Damon.
No, it is a deep-seated stigma that has taken a long time. Like, it's just
Because
because the system is very, very slow.
Maybe I'm just so naive. I don't even recognize stuff like that until someone makes a stink about it. I'm like, oh, okay, I guess.
I mean, I noticed it immediately, but that's because
Yeah,
I've been
me too.
talking for years about the fact that because when things like the Oscars come up and everybody's mad because they're not nominating any black actors, and I'm like, you guys are insane. Like, black actors in Hollywood are treated so much better today than Asian American actors are, to such an extent that, who was it that hosted it this year? Chris Rock. Chris Rock, like, the whole thing, the whole Oscars this year was all about, black actors, which was great. But then he has this incredibly racist joke about the people who do the statistics for the Oscars, and it's 3 small Asian children. Like, it's so terrible. And it's not that they're deliberately doing anything. It's just that there's
I think
nobody...
that one was deliberately racist. But when I watch a movie that deals with people fighting monsters on the Great Wall of China, I never think of, boy, that's pretty racist because Matt Damon's in it. I don't even go there.
But it's not. I don't think that it's anything deliberately. Like, it's not like somebody's. The casting directors of that movie are saying, "Hey, everybody hates Asian guys, so we can't have them be in the lead role," or even them saying, "Hey, no one will believe a badass Asian guy." It's more that there's no one in the system because they've been so...
Or does anyone know that maybe that movie wasn't written that way, and Matt Damon's like, I really like this movie. We should set it at the Great Wall of China. And I was like, yeah, let's do that.
It's possible, but the problem is we keep having the conversation because this isn't the only time, right? I'm not mad at the Great Wall.
I'm just curious what other movie has done that and it makes people upset. I'm just curious.
Oh, I mean, we talked about it only months ago for the anime adaptation, Ghost in the Shell.
Ghost in the Shell.
Which that's one that I don't like. Again, it's the same deep-seated problem. Everyone's mad at Ghost in the Shell. They shouldn't be mad at Ghost in the Shell. They should be mad about the fact that what I want is every now and then for us to have a Jason Statham type movie. I want an Asian Jason Statham, right? Somebody who can...
And is that the system, or is it just Asian actors don't want to do that? Or that's where my problem is too, because you also have, they always talk about the whitewashing, but no one bats an eye when they take. This sounds really racist, like a white character and cast it as a black guy. See, I don't even think something like that. No. The most important thing is getting the character right.
Yes, but I think, like, especially when you're telling a movie that takes place on the Great Wall of China during the construction or right after the construction of the wall, like, you're historically in a very specific place. If this movie were a Chinese language movie, that actor would probably be Chinese, right?
Okay, but what if the story is that Matt Damon is like this monster hunter, and the Chinese ask for help, and he comes there to fight monsters? That's
fine. My point, again, I'm not mad at the Great Wall, and I'm not mad at Ghost in the Shell. The conversation just still is that there is no one of Asian descent, or even half Asian descent, who is a bankable, big, dramatic action movie star. There just isn't one, and that's the problem, right?
Because no one gives them the opportunity to get in that position.
Well, I would say because 15 years ago there was still a pretty heavy stigma, and I think today someone could do it. There just isn't one, right? Mm-hmm. 15 years ago, when I was a kid, Asian stars were still very much emasculated, and right, like there was all this stigma to it. It's starting to go away. I think because nobody wants to deliberately do that. But it's a very slow moving system, right? There's nothing you can do about it, and I agree. At the end of the day, if they want to make this movie and make it cool and have it make money, you put Matt Damon in the movie. There isn't a choice here, and that's the problem. The problem is that there isn't a choice. There isn't a way for them to be historically accurate, It's like if you were making Birth of a Nation, and you were like, well, we need the movie to make money, but so we're going to have to make the main actor white. Because historically, all of those characters were black, right? I mean, that's all we're feeding into. And yeah, it may be that it's written into the movie that it's not. That's not said in the trailer, we won't know till we see the movie. Again, it's just because there isn't a wealth of great talent out there.
Again, I don't know. I don't look at it that way, so...
You don't have to. I know that it's true.
No, I mean, not your argument.
Yeah.
But your argument, too, is that there's no Asian actors, and so my argument would also be that maybe they feel that they don't have an opportunity, so none of them try. I mean,
right. And if that's if the problem is that they don't feel like they have an opportunity, like that's the problem.
Yeah,
right.
I agree.
Like there needs to be some sort of a push there.
And I don't know how the push gets
I don't either. I mean, you need a Denzel Washington of the space, right? And I can't even think who that would be.
I think they're trying. It's just
Yeah,
they.
it's just a slow.
No one's
system.
willing to take a chance. Like, oh yeah, like Indiana Jones should be Asian or something, like whatever.
Right.
Like for this action movie. You
Yeah.
know?
I mean,
Someone
yeah.
just has
Don't
to roll-
don't touch Indiana Jones. Like, fuck you.
I
But-
watched Indiana Jones this week, so it's the first thing that came to my mind.
I know. I was
so-
just kidding. I was just kidding.
But
Um,
you just have to roll the dice, and hopefully one like gets a fan base. Like,
Yeah.
I saw Matt Damon in that trailer. Like, I didn't think it was racist, but I was like, that doesn't look interesting to me, even with Matt Damon.
Right.
So they had a script about this monster movie,
yeah.
and they, how do we sell this? How do we
Right.
make this bankable? They got Matt Damon to do it, but again, that wasn't enough to like. I would have been more interested if it was actually a Chinese movie.
I actually would be too.
Yeah.
So
Really, you think a Chinese person in the lead role will make that trailer more interesting? Because I don't.
No, not a Chinese person in the lead role, but if it was just like a movie made in China with like
Yeah.
a Chinese
I don't know.
production.
I still don't think the trailer was that interesting. So
Like,
I don't
there's
think
tons
it'll
of monster
matter.
movies.
and I think that as a first trailer, like that's a different conversation. I think that as a first trailer, yeah, I don't love it that much either. It came off a little bit bland, but that might just be the trailer, right?
Yeah.
That movie might be amazing.
Yeah, I mean,
you
I
don't
don't
even
know.
see the monsters in the movie, right? Like it could be that they're in early
And
post
too,
production.
you can also make the argument that no one knows what the movie's about. So saying it's racist right now is kind of a premature.
No, I agree. It's,
It's just the same thing with Tilda Swinton as the ancient one
yeah,
in Doctor Strange.
right.
I mean,
Yeah, for me it is that it comes up enough, and I don't want to stop having the conversation until there's a fix to it, because for me I think it is a real problem, and I mean I've said that for 5 years or longer. So anyway, that's news.
this is the stuff we watched this week.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this is the stuff we've been watching.
Brad, what'd you watch?
Actually, nothing really.
No?
I watched bonus features on a bunch of different movies. So.
Anything of interest?
I was impressed. Like, I can't remember if I had watched the bonus features for the Indiana Jones movies before, but obviously they have a lot of repeat documentaries about the Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yeah.
When I mostly wanted to check out Last Crusade and Temple of Doom, so they have one or two on there that are interesting. But I mean, there's nothing. I don't think anyone already doesn't know
Yeah.
that I spotted. I feel like there was one thing, but I forgot what it was. But yeah, and then I also rewatched the Star Trek reboots, Star Trek and Star Trek Into Darkness, and watched the bonus features on those. And yeah, nothing to report there.
You know what I found interesting is I was paying attention to Star Trek this week too. Is everyone talks about how divisive Into Darkness is? It's the highest rated movie on Rotten Tomatoes for a Star Trek movie
Of all
Star Trek.
time.
of all time.
Even above Wrath of Khan.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
96%, I think.
It's a good movie.
No, I think it is too. I just think it's fascinating because even Carl Urban's like, I almost left after Into Darkness.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I didn't. Like it's a little heavy-handed in homages. To,
Yeah.
like the thing you got. One of the great things about Beyond is that it kind of finds its own footing for once. Although they do show like the original cast in it again. But still,
Yeah, but that's such a good moment.
And then the Khan blood. It's just like, wow, we have a solution to every dilemma for the rest of the series, which
Yeah.
they conveniently just
We
swept
ignore.
under the rug for the next one. But
Yeah.
they're still like fun to watch. And the making of was fun to watch too.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, my problems with Into Darkness was always just I like the movie a lot. The first time I saw it, it was just this general disappointment of like, oh man, like why are you going back to this well? Like I want something new. Which luckily that's what I get in Beyond, right?
Yeah,
But they told a cool story, right?
Yeah, in the special features, Abrams was talking about like, why would you do that? Why would you do Khan again? We spent a whole movie establishing a new timeline, and then he basically like recanted. We were looking for a villain, and like nothing else sprung to our mind as strongly as Khan.
Yeah.
So they basically tried to create their own Khan.
Right.
Um,
Yeah, I mean it's the same argument every time that like fans pop up and they're like they should put the Borg in. I'm like, no, I mean maybe not. Like now that we're maybe 4 movies in, I might be okay with it because those characters have never interacted with them, so I think that's cool.
Yeah, I'd say like, if you
But-
cross,
Yes.
because the original crew didn't have to deal with the Borg, so
Right.
that would be a new dynamic.
Yeah.
Um,
I just like to me, Star Trek is about so much more than its villains. And so when you focus so much on like, oh, we need a really cool villain, like, nah, you kind of don't. Like the villain is bigotry and ignorance. Like that's the real villain of Star Trek. Fuck me, just terrible. But it's true, right? Like,
yeah, I'm a little tired of like seeing a singular embodiment like of a villain. Like part of the great thing about the original series of movies was like, you know, one of the plot lines was like they're just trying to get whales back to Earth, and there's just like this probe. It has no lines.
Right.
It's not a famous actor.
Yeah, it's just a round version of the monolith from 2001, and it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
What
I
else?
would agree. And you've got Six, which is like this adventurous romp and political
mystery.
drama and murder mystery. Yeah, like
Yeah.
that's what I want.
I guess, not a good versus evil, just a straight up like
Yeah,
more of an idea driven.
yeah. For a fourth movie, generally what I want is like a politics heavy Klingon, bash, where like they're gonna go to war with the Klingons and this and that, and and there's some kind of terrorist plot, something, and they've got to set the record straight before war breaks out with the Klingons.
Yeah, it's funny, in Into Darkness, they kind of suggest that war is already broken out with the Klingons.
Yeah. Yeah.
So even though in Beyond, they're on their 5-year mission,
Yeah.
there's this gigantic war going on back home that doesn't really show up that much.
Right.
And also they suggested that on Kronos, the state of the Klingons is they're just fighting themselves.
Right.
In addition to the Federation. So I thought that was a cool thing if they maybe in the fourth one they do go to Kronos and they're, they side with one
a whole
faction of the
civil war.
Klingons.
Yeah.
The
that
Klingon
would
Civil
be
War or
cool.
something.
Oh man. Hey, Simon Pegg, give us a call.
Also, speaking of Star Trek, I saw the new ship for Discovery.
Oh yeah, you watched that thing? You don't like it?
Well, it's first of all, it's obviously it's not the final render,
I don't like it either.
but it looks like a Klingon battle cruiser
I know.
without a neck.
That's why I explained it that way.
It looks like someone, like a child, took a Lego set and just mashed all the pieces together. It's very flat, so it has no
Yes.
dimension.
Yeah.
Yes, and it looks like mid-90s
Uh-huh.
CGI.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not sure what the story there
Farscape,
is.
Babylon 5.
Because we also don't know
Uh-huh.
like how much of a budget they gave Brian Fuller. I'm sure he will do the best with what he has.
Yeah.
But since they're not putting the show on the television, it may be that this is them dipping their toe in, and they don't want to invest a whole lot of money, especially maybe on marketing and promotion, right? Like if he puts out a good show and he puts all the money into the show and he doesn't waste it on some little teaser thing, like okay. But yeah, I don't love the ship as a like early design. Like that's what he's trying to do is give you that throwback kind of a feel, which is cool. I appreciate that. But it invokes so much of that Klingon look that it's bizarre that he built it that way, especially for a guy who knows a lot about Star Trek. Which maybe he did it on purpose, right? Maybe the ship is actually a hodgepodge together, like it's not the Enterprise. It's not the best ship in the fleet. Like it's genuinely the worst ship,
Maybe
and they've
it's not a Starfleet ship. Maybe it's like
Maybe.
a bunch of scientists
yeah.
welded together,
Well,
whatever they could.
it's a Starfleet ship because it's the NCC
Oh.
1031, right? Like,
Maybe it's part of NCC 1031 that broke off, and
Sure.
they salvaged it and added it to some other science vessel, and
yeah. I mean,
there's some rogue faction of Starfleet.
I'm excited for the show because I want them to tell good Star Trek stories.
Yeah.
Not because like, oh man, look at how cool the ship looks. But yeah, I was kind of disappointed when you hadn't seen it yet last week because I was like, oh, it's exactly how I described it to you, right? It's
Yep.
like, oh yeah, it looks
It's
looks
a
like they took half of a
circle and a
Klingon
triangle
and shoved it onto a circle.
slapped together.
Yeah.
I don't know who their production designer is, but
Yeah.
doesn't seem like they tried hard. Well, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Cool. Ryan?
Is that it, Brad?
Yep.
James?
Oh,
or you want me to go?
No, I can go. I watched Bad Boys 2 this week. That movie is still Bad Boys 2. And the only other thing really is that I saw the entire first season of Harmon Quest, which is on CISO. I got like a free month of CISO basically just so
I don't even know what that is.
It's like a subscription channel of all comedy stuff that I don't remember who started it. I think Amy Poehler must be involved because basically everything she's ever been in is on there. But it's kind of like how on Amazon Prime or on other streaming services you can subscribe to Stars
Sure.
or HBO or whatever. So they made this. There's this thing called CISO, and it's they're creating a lot of original comedy content. So there's like comedy shows that are exclusive to CISO, and like stand-up comedy stuff that's been video, filmed for them.
Okay.
So Dan Harmon, who's the creator of Community and one of the co-creators on Rick and Morty, has this podcast that in the last month I started
that's
listening
right. I
to
actually
called
think I have heard of that,
Harmontown. So Harmon Quest is a thing that they filmed about a year ago that they just put out on CISO, where basically Dan Harmon, a couple of his funny friends, and that includes a rotating chair each episode of some comedian like Paul F. Tompkins or whoever. They play D&D together. So one of his friends, well, I mean, in D&D in quotes because they can't legally say D&D. One of his friends is the game master, and basically what they do is they play for an hour, and then they cut it down to a 20-minute episode. So you're not watching like the rolling of the dice that often or anything like that. Every now and then they'll throw it in. But it's really just these guys like jokily going on this adventure romp together. And it's, for one thing, like just in general, it's really funny. Oh, and I left out that they animate the adventure. So they'll cut back and forth to the live action because sometimes there's something that the guys do that's really funny that you need to see, for real. But most of the show is a cartoon show. That's why it took them a year to make it. I think it's hilarious. I think it's totally worth checking out. You can see the first episode on YouTube, and it feels a lot like actual D&D because that's what it is. In the way that it's social and it's fun and like it. I don't know. For I like it just because I feel like it takes a little of the stigma away from how nerdy and terrible D&D is. As a guy who played it a lot in his life, but and everybody who's on it is hilarious. I mean, they get Audrey Plaza and a whole bunch of really great actors, and it's always funny because of course whoever the rotating chair is like a new character for the week. And so it's fun to, like, when you start the episode and wonder, like, okay, is this character going to die by the end of the episode? Are they, going to turn into an asshole and be a villain or, like, whatever? The way that it's scripted out and all of the preparation that they did, especially Spencer, who's their game master, like, it's really well done for, like, a really simple premise, right? So, yeah, I highly recommend it. I think it's really funny. So yeah, you can check out the first episode on YouTube, and then you can get like a free month. That's what I did. You can get a free month of CISO just to check it out, where you can watch that and then go watch the other stuff that they've got on that channel. So
reminds me of Crimson Mystical Mages.
I've never seen that.
It was basically that, but the audio version on Kevin Smith's.
Oh, that's right.
Network. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is the video version.
Yeah. It's
which
really
they only did like one episode of or something.
Oh yeah. This they do I think it's 10 episodes, and so you get like a whole campaign, right? Like, some demon seal gets broken, and these demons come through, and then they got to go find and fight the demons and the bad guy who broke it, and then it all comes to a head, and it's interesting because they clearly must have written it, like Spencer must have written it as they were doing it. So that way, because there are things near the end I was amazed by, where like some of the characters that he writes for the guests are things that he clearly must have written after, somebody said something about like, oh, I've got this separation anxiety because of my dad or whatever, right? So then he's like, oh, now slight spoilers for the show, but like somebody makes a lighthearted joke about a thing, and then he ends up writing like that character's father in later in the series, so that way like he can play on that little character dynamic that somebody made up just improv, and that's a cool thing that you don't see that often. So. Yeah, definitely worth checking out. So, but that's pretty much everything I watched.
Yeah, I didn't watch very much either this week. I just wanted to mention my little boy is in love with Captain America.
Oh,
and so we watched Age of Ultron, and he kept on saying that Captain America is throwing his shield.
Uh-huh.
And he likes the Hulk. I think all little boys like Hulk because he just smashes things.
Yeah.
But I like that. I mean, I don't know how long Age of Ultron is, maybe 2 hours, 20 minutes.
Yeah, it's long.
But he watched the whole thing.
Wow.
And he was interested in it, so it's kind of fun having the little guy really excited for those movies. Like Winter Soldier he liked, but there's a little too much, I think, intrigue in it.
Oh yeah, like that's a smart movie. Like, that's not just an action movie.
There's a lot of breaks in the action in it.
Yeah.
but he was really into it at the beginning when Cap's running across the ship and being a badass.
He's going to be the only 2-year-old who turns to you and is like, Daddy, what's PTSD?
Right?
Oh, man, I should never shown you Winter Soldier.
So I'm getting him prepped, and I was actually Civil War is playing at the Elvis Cinemas.
Oh, no.
I'm really tempted to take him there and see if he can sit through a movie.
Oh, I do you like? I think that watching Iron Man and Captain America fight is emotionally like that would have to be devastating for
It
a
might
little
be.
kid.
But,
right?
you know,
like no, why are they fighting? Oh, political differences.
I mean, I still think Winter Soldier is one of the best probably the best Marvel MCU movie.
yeah,
But Civil War is so close. I mean, I just rewatching it. There's so many clues in Winter Soldier that pay off in Civil War.
yeah.
I mean, I remember them mentioning that spoilers, that the Winter Soldier is responsible for the death of the Starks. But I couldn't remember where I saw it. You know what I mean?
Is that in Winter Soldier?
It's in Winter Soldier.
Holy shit!
It's the part where Cap and Black Widow go to the underground bunker and they talk to the German scientist who's like living in the computer.
yeah.
They flash the thing and it's like Stark's killed in a car accident, and
wow.
and it has the same date on the newspaper. Like I stopped it. I'm like, wait a minute, and I watched. Yeah, so because that's how he knew. Because I always wonders like. Because he said, "Did you know in Civil War?" And
Yeah.
he's like, "Yeah, I knew."
I thought they just didn't tell us.
Yeah.
you just blew my mind.
I know. I have a new appreciation for Winter Soldier again.
That's so cool.
And any movie that has Robert Redford say Hell Hydra is immediately elevated. So yeah, it's kind of fun. My little boy, he loves the Spider-Man movies too.
yeah.
So it's really fun. I'm gonna take him to Homecoming, Spider-Man Homecoming.
Yeah.
And my wife said, "Really, you're going to take him opening night?" I'm like, "No, I'm going to go see it, and then I'm going to take him to a matinee."
Yeah. Right.
I mean, it'll be almost 3 by then. He might be okay, but I want to enjoy it the first time I see it.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, and if you want to see it at the Alamo, because you literally won't be able to get him into the Alamo.
yeah, and that's another thing is I got to, because I don't want him to bother other people.
Yeah.
So it's always I might wait a couple weeks
Yeah.
and see
Well,
it
and
like at a matinee when it's not going to be as busy.
Right. Yeah, because again, like, if it's you don't want it to be the first time, because if it is a thing where like halfway through you're like, oh crap, I have to take him out because he's
Exactly.
Just not gonna...
And it's not his fault. He's just a little guy.
Oh yeah.
Take
So,
him to the drive-in.
It's not his fault. His dad's an asshole. Like,
Yeah.
you know,
So, but if I wait, because I think it comes out July 18th, 17th.
yeah.
I think if I wait a month, kids will be back in school.
Sure.
And then I'll be able to take them and it won't
Oh,
be as
totally.
bad.
Yeah.
Or the drive-in's another option for sure.
For sure. Yeah.
I just don't know because the drive-in, the screen might be far away.
Well, if you take a sedan, you can go up front.
Let's do a sedan. So I have to take my wife's car.
Yeah,
Why can only sedans sit up front?
because the smaller cars get to be in the first 3. I think it's the white post.
Probably because
and
of the
then
height or
SUVs
something.
get the blue.
The height of them.
Oh,
posts,
really?
Yeah, and then like they have orange on the sides for the trucks and stuff.
Huh. Weird.
No, it makes sense.
Because it's not
When you
like
see
it's
it.
not like on the side of a hill or something.
No, it's flat, but the
Oh.
rows dip into like little ravines. So like each section is like 2 rows, and like the front row kind of points the cars up,
Yeah.
and then the back row you kind of fall down. I think
Huh.
you point
Oh,
down
okay.
the back row,
Yeah.
and a lot of people like to turn the rear ends of their cars open towards
Yes.
the screen. I like to just use my windshield.
Yeah.
But if you put your trailer hitch up, it blocks the smaller cars if you're in the front.
Oh yeah.
Looking
Okay.
up.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
The last time when I went and saw Mad Max, this was at a drive-in out in Ohio. It was on the side of a hill enough that like you were sitting pretty far from each other, and on that we were in a truck. So that was really great because then you open up your side doors, turn the speakers on, sit in the back of the truck, and it was like perfect, right? But yeah, I can see. I wasn't thinking about the hatchbacks. If you flip open the hatchback, yeah, that would be really annoying.
yeah, last time I was there, like the owners would come around with like yarn to get people to like tie it down a little bit.
Oh yeah,
So yeah, I've never had
Interesting.
that problem because I have an SUV, but
yeah,
I can see the smaller cars.
right,
Unless they're up front, they can get screwed over
yeah,
pretty easily.
that would make sense. Cool. Sorry.
No, you're fine. I also finished watching a 3rd season of Hannibal. And are those episodes uncensored on Blu-ray?
Yes. Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Because one, I feel like they're about 50-something minutes long, but
Yes.
also I'm like, that's pretty hardcore.
Yep.
It's a really well done show. I think the 3rd season starts a little slow, but
Yes.
as maybe the 4th or 5th episode, it really starts picking up.
It's why I fell off when it was on the air. Because those first 4 episodes, when you're watching week to week, I just forgot what was happening, and like there's so much just
They're really dense.
Yeah, and there's just so much visual stuff. Like there's just like, hey, here's a kaleidoscope sex scene, right? Like just weird stuff.
But I will say the show's shot beautifully.
Man. Yeah.
And I actually I liked how the story culminated. I think the end was really interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know if I should spoil it for people, but when I was watching it and it ended, I'm like, is there something else? So I kind of stayed. I was like, just guessing. And the end post credit scene is pretty traumatic and interesting.
You're talking about the Gillian Anderson
Yes,
moment.
yes. Because why is there?
Oh, I know.
Why is there? You know what I mean?
Yeah, no,
Okay.
you don't have to say anything. Yeah, we're good.
But I think the choice that Will makes, I think's right on par with his character.
Right.
At the end of this show.
Yeah.
I don't want to spoil it for people because it's really
No.
fascinating.
Yes.
How they get there,
Yeah.
and it actually reminds me of Sherlock Holmes a lot. Just the way it ends, because you have two adversaries that respect each other so much, and they have to make a decision, and whatever decision's made,
It is a Batman Joker-esque
it is.
relationship.
Because I like to the character of Will is really interesting to me because he's not always like on the straight and narrow.
Yeah.
So his choice, I think it ended how it should have ended, and I think he makes the right choice.
How did you feel middle of the season when they jump forward like a
I'm
year
fine
or
with it.
2 years or whatever it is?
I'm fine because
Yeah.
I think it adds intrigue to what's happening.
Yeah.
Um,
It felt like putting nitrous into the show. Like it, all of a sudden, I started that episode and I was just like, I was hooked. I think I finished the season in a day or two after that.
It's a really well done show. I still love the title sequence. I think is one of the coolest ever.
Yeah.
The music's really great. Like the red wine is.
Yes.
It's so. It's sad that they're not making any more, but I think it's okay.
Yeah.
I think it's okay where it ended.
Did you have some of that same feeling where like it ended and you thought like, oh man, what would Silence of the Lambs look like if they had touched it, right? Like,
what would it look like? But I'm okay with it where it ended.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because
Oh, no,
I think
no.
the ending with what happened to two characters and then the Gillian Anderson thing, I think was really clever.
yeah.
And
And I mean, I still stand
gruesome.
I stand by what I've always said of, the show. The show should have never had a season, much less 3.
Yep.
So I have to.
That
be
was
thankful.
on network TV. I think I agree with you. I'm like,
Right.
I mean, I've only seen the uncensored episodes,
Yeah.
but at the same time, you're watching like this is on NBC.
But
It's way out of place on
It's-
NBC.
It's not the gore. It's
No.
It's the psychological trauma of that show.
I think we've talked. I still think the best scenes are just the ones where they're talking to each other.
Yeah.
And Mads Mikkelsen is so great as Lecter.
Yeah.
Obviously, I think he's better than Anthony Hopkins, but he's obviously had
He's
more
not
time.
He's not chewing scenery, right?
Exactly.
Like, Anthony Hopkins plays that character like a madman,
Yeah, and
which
it's
is fine for what those movies
Exactly.
are.
I mean, he only has 2 hours.
Right.
Where Mads Mikkelsen,
He's got to make an impact.
Yeah,
whereas,
and so what? 28 total hours? Oh no, 39 total hours of the
Uh-huh.
show. So you have, just like I think Anthony Hopkins is likable, but Mads Mikkelsen has to be likable for an extended period of time.
Right.
Where he's still a bastard, but I don't know how to describe.
well, because
he's-
you can't sustain that character at 11 the whole time.
Mhm.
So Mads Mikkelsen plays him at 2,
Yeah.
and then when he turns it on,
Yeah.
like
It's I think it's terrifying. I really do.
Yeah, like it's really good.
Yeah,
and it
so-
doesn't happen very often because most of the time, like one of the things Brian Fuller I think does really well is that until season 3, you don't really get to see a lot of like that horrible Hannibal Lecter. It's why I think season 3 is so interesting, and there's so much visual stuff
It
there.
is interesting
because-
too when Lecter starts explaining why he's killing people.
Yeah.
And it's really fascinating because I've never seen a show or a movie where you spend so much time in the psyche of a serial killer.
Yeah.
Where he's, it's second main character. Will's still the
Right.
the main character, but
And
maybe
it's-
equal time. I don't know.
Yeah, and it's not campy like a Dexter or something like that, where
Yeah.
it's like he talks to himself and he personalizes the thing that makes him kill people, right? Like it's really this psychological examination of that character.
And I do like, though, too, it kind of went away from, the first season I thought was good, but the later seasons went away from the monster of the week kind of thing.
Yeah.
It focused more on the characters, and I think after the first season, they realized those moments with Gillian Anderson and Mads Mikkelsen were so great that they started building on it, and I think it helped the show. I think the last season's really strong when you watch it as a whole.
I think the way he got it made was he pitched it as a Monster of the Week serialized or episodic kind of show, because that's the way you get it onto NBC.
I agree.
Once he miraculously got a second season, it's Brian Fuller. When he gets a second season, he's done. Until this show. How is it that this is the show that got more than 2 seasons for Brian Fuller?
I know, it's interesting. Because the show is dark.
Yeah.
But well done. So hats off to the creators of that show.
Yeah, I think that once he got a second season, he was just like, oh, okay, well, I'm
going to
get canceled eventually anyway, so why not just do this in the best way I know how? And, man, it's a hell of a thing.
Yep.
So.
And the last thing I watched Hellhole.
I'm so excited.
The movie's not good at all.
For to catch up anybody who didn't listen last week, go back and listen to the Blu-ray releases of Hellhole from last week.
So the cover is this doctor that has a syringe, and he's wearing a surgical mask, and there's a scantily clad woman with his hand over her mouth, and he's about to stick the syringe in her. And I was like, oh, this is really cool. That never happens in the movie. There's a doctor in it, but it's played by a lady, which is fine. But I wanted her to be in that surgical thing, and she's doing experiments on women.
You wanted her to look like a mad scientist.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Nope. So the premise of the movie is it opens with this mom and daughter, and they look like they're the same age. It's really bizarre. And so she's making dinner, and the daughter comes down. She's like, why don't you go take a shower? I'm like, oh, this movie's going to be just loaded with gratuitous nudity. So the daughter goes, takes a shower, and then the mom is murdered by the best way I can describe it is a 1980s greaser, and his name is Silk because he strangles his victims with a silk scarf.
When is the movie set and made?
Is 80s.
Okay.
So
all right.
I'll explain his attire to you.
Okay.
So he wears a black leather jacket that has like spikes on it.
Okay.
Black gloves that has the fingers cut out.
Sure.
And leather pants. He wears aviator sunglasses and has like a handlebar mustache.
Okay.
And he wears a red silk scarf that he strangles people with. That's why he got the name Silk.
Okay.
So,
now 80s greaser is a good... Yeah, okay, yeah, I get it.
So he murders this lady's mom.
Does he get a new one each time he kills?
No, it's his favorite one, bro.
So how do they know it's a silk scarf that kills people?
Because that's his name.
Because that's the way that it leaves a silky impression on their necks.
I'm just saying because that's what they call him.
I know, I'm just...
Yeah, I mean,
I'm
I know what
debunking
you
this.
mean.
Like, how do they?
There were silk threads left
no one
in the...
who is murdered calls him Silk. I'll get to this part.
Okay.
So he murders this lady's mom, and she comes down and sees him, and he's singing some song to her while he's murdering her. And so she runs out of the house, and she lives in like some housing development, and she runs to like an abandoned, like it's a frame of a house. And in the background, there's literally like 50 houses. So I don't know why she didn't run to like one of the houses.
Right.
And Silk, 80s greaser guy, is like slowly walking and smoking a cigarette. He gets to... So she runs upstairs to this frame of this house.
Why is she afraid of him? Because isn't he just a dude?
Well, because she saw him murder her mom.
Oh, right. Sorry, yes.
That's fine. So you'd think she'd just run to a neighbor's house, but
yeah,
what do
so
I
be
know?
like, hey, please call the police. Someone just murdered my mother.
Yeah, I mean...
Right.
So she goes to this house that's just the frame of the house, and greaser guy Silk is smoking a cigarette, like waiting for her. And so he grabs his scarf.
He's waiting
like,
to smoke her.
And he like snaps it like it's supposed to be terrifying. You know what I mean?
Like a belt?
Yes, exactly. And so she backs up slowly and falls off the top floor and like hits the ground. And he just looks at her, he's like, sorry, babe. And he takes a drag of his cigarette and flicks it down. But it turns out she didn't die, guys. She got amnesia.
What?
Yep.
Okay.
So,
all right. All right.
Cut to next day, I don't know. And there's these two guys sitting around, and Silk isn't wearing his costume anymore. He's just some average 80s guy with a girl who's topless swimming in a pool. And So it turns out that because she has amnesia, they send her to a sanitarium for women, and they got Silk a job as a janitor there in case she remembers that.
Wait, who they?
I don't know. In case they murdered, they never explain.
Okay, all right.
In case she remembers that her mom was murdered by Silk. So they say something about we need to get the papers from her mom. I don't know what papers they're talking about. I don't know why her mom was murdered. But they send her to this sanitarium.
Oh, because is he like a contract killer? He's not.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So
he's
paid-
He's not just a Michael-esque like I kill people.
No,
Like,
so
he kills people.
Yeah, $5,000.
Yeah.
$5,000.
Right. Okay.
They do mention that.
$5,000 to kill her mom because of papers.
Papers.
Okay.
Never explained.
We need to get the paper.
So they do this exposition scene. These three guys around the pool with a naked girl swimming. That they told the doctor there, who's an evil doctor, that
Good.
take her in and that her mom is on vacation in Florida and she cannot be reached.
Does she? Oh, because she just doesn't remember the murder.
Yeah,
it's
she
not that she
remembers
doesn't
everything
remember.
else.
Okay, she remembers that she has a mom.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, all right.
So-
Now I'm with you.
So while they're there, they meet the evil doctor chick lady. I forget her name.
I think her name is Evil Dr. Chick Lady. Yeah.
And she, I'd say 90% of the patients are like pinup 80s, like girls are all like super attractive.
Yeah.
And then they always have like the one fat girl and then the one like crazy girl with crazy hair.
Sure.
But they take showers together.
Oh, so it's Orange is the New Black.
Yeah, they take
Right.
showers together and rub soap over each other.
Yep.
They have a lesbian fight scene.
Wait,
Yep. So
like where they fight and then they make
no,
out,
this one girl is
or is
mad.
it just two women who are fighting?
So Silk is now the janitor,
Right.
and there's also the good guy, orderly. His name's
Or
good orderly guy.
Gotcha.
I think his name's Ron. Actually, his name is Ron.
Okay, great. Ron.
So he wants to find out information. So he sends his girlfriend that he's sleeping with, who's crazy, into the shower with all these naked women.
Wait.
Yeah, yeah. So
Wait.
one of the
He needs to find out information, so he sends his girlfriend in to take a shower with a bunch of crazy women in the insanity ward he works at.
His girlfriend's crazy too.
Oh,
So he's like sleeping with the patient.
Okay, when you said she was crazy, I thought you just meant like, oh, she's crazy.
Oh yeah, no. I'm
She's
sorry
a-
if I lose you. I'm
she's
trying to
nutty.
remember the plot of this movie.
Oh no, that's why I'm,
Hey, would you mind go asking these girls some information
right.
immediately?
Yeah.
Oh, while they're in the shower? Oh,
Yeah,
that's a good time.
Yeah, because
Hey,
I forgot.
Hey,
to-
babe, I need you to come into my work tomorrow and hang out with all the crazy chicks I work with. And
So
yeah,
I'm
just
really
take a
explaining
shower
this
with me.
movie because it doesn't make sense to me.
Wait, no, it's great.
So I forgot to say the scene before with his girlfriend. She comes into his room at the insane asylum. I don't know. And so she gets naked, and they're like having a sex scene, and she's having this huge exposition about evil doctor lady who's doing experiments on the women in the sanitarium.
Sure.
And like she's naked while they're doing this, and she's like rubbing her boobs, and she's like, yeah, and she takes them downstairs to hellhole. You don't want like, what the fuck is going on here?
Now, okay, I do want to point out here that you said that Ron is like the good guy orderly, right? Mm-hmm. Except for the fact that he's sleeping with his crazy patients.
No, Silk is the janitor that they remember. He's been planted there,
Yes.
and Ron is a different guy.
No, I know. Ron is a good guy orderly.
So it's
Except
Silk.
for the fact that he is having sex
no,
with patients.
Silk is having sex with the patient.
Oh.
So Silk wants,
Silk is trying to find out information.
yeah, about Ron. because
Okay.
He's
now
friendly with the amnesia girl. Sorry.
Okay.
So
yes,
Ron's friendly with the
it's
amnesia
fine.
girl. So Silk sends his girlfriend into the showers to find out information on Ron because he's afraid that Ron's going to unlock her memories.
Sure. Right.
And so they have a
Because
scene
he
where they're-
likes to help the women.
Yeah, so there's literally
rather
a
than-
scene. There's like 12 naked women, and they're all like rubbing like soap on each other.
Right, yeah.
And then this one girl comes
they're
in and is
dirty
like,
and they
"Hey,
need to
you
get clean."
can't talk to my girl that way." And she's like, "Fuck you!" And then they have this like lesbian like fight scene because the one girl's talking to the other girl's girlfriend.
Okay, Brad, am I crazy? He keeps saying lesbian. It's just women fighting.
It's just women fighting, right?
Yeah, but they're lesbians because she's upset.
Okay. Okay. Oh, okay. All right. I see what you're saying. Yes.
The one
okay.
girl's upset that her
Right.
girlfriend is talking to the the one lady
Right,
who
okay.
Silk's in it. I know.
Yeah, no, now I'm on the same page.
It's like
I just
you're
kept
talking about a
being-
wrestling match, but you're saying like all the wrestlers are gay, just because it was two guys wrestling.
Well, yeah, but when he said it the first time, I thought he meant like they fight and then they have sex in like
You
a
didn't,
in
you
like
didn't think
a
this
weird.
plot was so dense, did you?
I mean,
so-
yeah.
Anyway, so she does experiments on them that turns them into like zombie things that never really kill anybody.
Oh,
It's-
okay.
It's, like loaded with gratuitous nudity.
in the hellhole, they're
the
they're
hellhole.
making zombies out of, or like zombie mutants out
yeah,
of the women.
but they don't really turn into anything. It's just they act like
they just go, we don't
Yeah.
have a budget.
Yeah, no budget. We're gonna moan, and my kid just fell for no reason.
Oh,
Um,
you're right. Did you fall on? Yeah, okay.
it's
you got it.
just I don't know. It's one of those movies that's so bad you keep on watching it. Like, what the fuck are they doing in this movie?
Right.
How did this get made? And
There you go.
the Blu-ray only has one interview on it. It's with Crazy Doctor Lady.
Yeah.
And she said, I took it. She's really funny in the interview. She said, yeah, I did it because they paid me money. I didn't think anybody was going to see it. But here I am 30 years later talking about this piece of shit. It's really funny. And she talks about how it's not good. And it's not. But it's one of those movies that's so bad that you can't believe you're watching it.
Wow. So in the end, is she like she and little Ron,
You want me
little
to
Ronnie
spoil
Howard?
it for you?
Yeah, I'm not gonna watch this piece of shit.
What?
So like
So-
she and little Ronnie Howard like build up some kind of plan, and they get the
Yeah, so they're
Does the bad guy die cool?
Yeah, he takes an axe in the back from one of the crazy patients.
so
Yeah.
no.
But not before he does one more signature kill, guys. So this one guy who hired him to go there to make sure that
The guy who hired him to
Amnesia
kill the Papers woman.
yeah,
Yeah.
Amnesia Lady doesn't remember, he kills him, and then he puts his aviator sunglasses on him as he strangles him, and he goes out of frame.
What? Yeah, if he has access to her in the Insanity War, why doesn't he just strangle her like in her sleep?
Yeah, you'd think so.
Like instead of like, oh, I'm a
Because he
highly
does-
paid assassin.
There is a scene
but I'm
where
going to take
he-
this job as a maintenance guy for a while just to make sure.
There is a scene where he goes in there and she's asleep, and he's like, "You know me, right? You know me." And she's, "I don't know you." "Oh, you know me." And that's literally the scene for like a minute before before little Ronnie Howard shows up and saves her.
Wait, is this actually Ron Howard?
No.
that's
just-
I just said little Ronnie Howard.
And it
I
made me
missed
laugh,
something.
so I'm running with it. But yeah, it's
Oh,
yeah,
okay,
yep.
great.
So there's no like murders.
I was worried
except
at first,
for
because we read the tagline last week, which
Ron Howard
was
of the Da Vinci Code, Apollo 13, and Hellhole.
yeah. So I was disappointed that there was no like crazy lady doctor who was killing people.
yeah, because well, at first it didn't sound like they were ever going to be captives stripped naked and forced to submit to the ultimate experience, but it does sound like they deliver on that amazing tagline.
Yep.
Because that does happen in the movie.
Yep. They also
Pray-
take a
pray they
mud
don't
bath.
succeed.
And Silk shows up with his crazy informant, and
Right.
she's taking a mud bath with some other random girl who's naked. And
And then they
before
have
he
a
shows
lesbian
up,
fight?
she says, "Oh, my nipples are so hard." I'm like, "Am I watching fucking porn?" Pretty much.
Yes.
And so I don't know why there's a mud bath too in an insane asylum, but there is.
It's therapeutic, I guess.
Yeah, I guess.
It's basically a spa for insane people.
Yeah.
And,
So there's Hellhole,
it's very.
which I think I'm not going to watch it again right away, but I will watch it again to make sure that I'm like, is this what's going on here?
Yeah, I
because
mean-
it seems like I'm missing something,
Right.
like with the papers, but I'm pretty sure they didn't say anything else.
Yeah.
Maybe you can write in, people. I don't know if other people have seen Hellhole.
They
Fans
should
of
make a movie
Hellhole.
called Spa Asylum. They're just sitting there in the mud bath going like, man, we should have gone crazy a lot sooner.
Did you say spa asylum or
Yeah.
spa asylum?
Spa Asylum.
Spa asylum's pretty good.
Copyright Real Nerds Podcast.
Yeah.
So what's coming
cool.
out on Blu-ray this week?
DVD releases and Blu-rays.
Your big release this week is Keanu, which is worth a rent, right? Like that
Sure.
was a funny
Sure.
movie. There were
One of
laughs.
Zach Eastman's favorite, but Zach's stupid.
Yeah, I mean there were laughs to be had.
He put that ahead of Civil War.
I know his list for the first half of the year is completely wrong. Sorry, Zach.
Yeah, Zach, come on.
But by
Pull
the
your
end of
shit
the
together.
year, all the shit that's on that list, he'll take it off. Except for like one thing that he just leaves on there to piss me off. because that's what he does. Mother's Day, the Jennifer Aniston movie that Ryan's been waiting for, is out this week. So there you go. That's the Gary Marshall movie. So
I figure that I like every fourth Jennifer Aniston movie.
Yeah.
Where it's like I'm not a big fan of indie movies, but when she does indie movies, she's really good in them.
Yeah.
And they usually
Derailed.
Exactly. Or
Cake.
She's really great in. She's great in She's the One. So yeah, Leprechaun. So every about 4 years.
Season 3 of The Blacklist is out this week, so you can check that out. That show is palatable. The Lobster is finally getting its Blu-ray release, which means I'll check it out. Even though every time someone tells me more about that movie, I'm just like, this just sounds so depressing. I'm going to hate it. But when I finally get around to watching it, I'll give it a chance. The complete second season of The Nick, which I've never watched, but I hear good things. There's an anime called April in the Extraordinary World that's out this week. That's out this week. So maybe check that out if you're into that kind of thing. I just accidentally closed one. Oh no. There's a movie called The Bronze. I don't know about it. The first season of The Blind Spot, which I don't think I ever talked about that on this show. Like I watched the first 1 or 2 episodes of that show. And it had some interesting things, and I like what's her face, who's the main actress?
Alexander.
Yeah, Jamie Alexander. But that show is so episodic it hurts.
It's the show that belongs on NBC, not Hannibal.
Yes. Oh, totally. Yeah. Because it's she's got all these tattoos, and basically every episode is discovering what a new tattoo means, which is just the most painful.
Why does it say "Enter here in my cooter"?
Right. Oh. The Mark of Zorro is getting a Blu-ray release this week, which is cool. Yeah, I think I want to check that out. I haven't seen that movie.
I haven't seen it forever.
Since probably I watched it on
That's
TV
when
I was
Antonio
10.
Banderas can be a star.
No, not the Mask of Zorro. The Mark of Zorro.
I was waiting for you to jump on that one.
You ignorant fool. The first season? Yes, the first season
Dwight,
of
you ignorant slut.
the first season of The Girlfriend Experience, the show based on the Soderbergh movie that's from Stars. I don't know. Anybody watch it? No, nobody's watched it.
Sure.
Anyway, Nicolas Cage got a movie called The Trust with Elijah Wood. The tagline for which is "Bad cops make the best criminals." That sounds like a terrible movie. And the mustache he's wearing on the poster is equally terrible. Mike Epps, Meet the Blacks. Moving on. Rooster Teeth's Laser Team, which is who talked about that? There was something about Laser Team. It's this weird looking, silly, throwbacky kind of 80s movie thing.
The Alamo advertised it a bunch.
Yes, that's right.
Months ago.
That's what it was.
But
yeah, it just looks like a weird thing that was maybe worth watching on a stream at some point. Batman's The Killing Joke is out this week on Blu-ray and DVD. So
Controversy.
we can all watch it and watch what happened. Batgirl got raped or something.
She had sex with Batman.
Oh yeah, that's right. That was a weird conversation.
which I don't think is exclusive to that. I think it's been in the comics.
Maybe.
I don't
Just
know.
weird.
I think she looks at Batman as a father figure. I don't think so. But
Yeah, but I think it's been I don't know, Elseworlds comics or something that have done that.
Do you see Batwoman's tits in it?
No,
I don't care.
she goes down to a bra.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know. It's still gonna kind of creep me out seeing that animation style, and I love Batgirl.
Yeah.
And getting down in her skivvies. I mean, we'll see.
Yeah.
If the story's
Weird.
good, then it's all right.
Last Days in the Desert, the Ewan McGregor Jesus movie, which it's the third Jesus movie this year. Maybe we're checking out. Getting into our Shout Factory, Scream Factory stuff for the week. You've got Bite, which looks like a movie where a young woman eats a lot of marbles. Your fear is her appetite. I have no fucking clue what this is.
Yeah, I saw the cover for that one. It's very similar to a local film called Eat.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I think they're actually fish eggs. Is that what they are?
Fish eggs?
Is it caviar? It's either caviar or it's marbles. She's eating one of the two.
Very high class.
I think she eats humans in that movie.
This cover is definitely marbles. So that's all I have to go off of. While on her bachelor party getaway, bride-to-be Casey gets a seemingly harmless bite from an unknown insect After returning home with cold feet, Casey tries to call off her wedding, but before she's able to, she starts exhibiting insect-like traits. Brought to the breaking point by her ongoing physical transformation and her wedding anxiety, Casey succumbs to her horrifying new instincts. As her metamorphosis becomes complete, the bugged bride and all who cross her path discover everything can change with a single bite. Maybe they're bug eggs. Maybe that's what the cover is her eating marbles, and I don't know why. Anyway, Shout Factory is also putting out Red Sonja, Queen of Plagues, which is a animated Gail Simone
Right on.
show or movie.
I like
thing.
her as a writer.
Yeah, and I think it technically says Shout Factory on the spine there. But it's a cool looking cover. I kind of want to go check out the trailer for this because I have to assume that this is a relatively new thing. So yeah, that's obviously based on the Red Sonja comic book character. And then what I assume is the big one for the week that probably Ryan has a copy of ordered is Invasion of the Body Snatchers from the Scream Factory.
I don't actually.
Oh yeah, this cover is pretty awesome looking.
It is Donald Sutherland front and center.
Yeah, man, that's a pretty cool movie. I haven't seen that in forever. Yeah, I like this cover. So yeah, maybe go order that. And that's this week in Blu-rays.
Cool. Before we get to the review of the movie, Suicide Squad is opening next week.
Yep.
And if you're looking for a great Harley Quinn story, and that comes with a really cool set, I don't know if Andrew still has them, but at Colorado Coins, Cards, and Comics, they have a gift set that has Mad Love Deluxe Edition.
Oh, cool.
On hardcover. But it also comes with a Harley in a 90 and a Joker action figure.
Cool.
So it's I think it's $39, but you also get the graphic novel with the 2 action figures.
Neat.
It's a really cool gift set. So if you're wondering what Harley Quinn story to read, that's definitely the one to read. It's called
Awesome.
Mad Love. It's by Paul Dini and Bruce Timm, the creators of the animated series.
Shoot, I couldn't get my joke off fast enough to go. Who are those guys?
So yeah, because one of my biggest pet peeves is people that love Harley Quinn and know nothing about her.
Yeah.
And, because, I mean, she's designed really cool, and I understand that's what part of her appeal.
Yeah.
But if you read her stories, I think people would like her even more because it's very fascinating.
Yeah. I learned to like the costume design on the new Harley Quinn better.
Is it
this
because
week.
it's Margot Robbie? And that's why I love it.
No, it's somebody put together that they were clearly inspired. I think it was it Joan Jett? Shoot, now I can't remember. Basically, there was a 80s, rock, pop, punk star woman who they found a picture of her in this thing that looks exactly like that costume.
I think it's fine.
Yeah, no, and all of a sudden I was like, oh, okay, cool. Like, that's what you were going for. Like, neat.
Did you see the classic costume is in the movie?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, no, I haven't seen that. That's cool. Not you don't mean the dress thing, like that halter top thing she's wearing.
The Harley Quinn animated series costume.
Like
Really?
Like the Unitard.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
cool. Awesome.
She just
All right,
doesn't.
I'm
She
more.
just kind of discards it.
Well, she doesn't have it in the jail she's being expelled from, which makes sense.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see the movie. So yeah, definitely
Yeah.
go to Colorado Coins, Cards, and Comics and pick that gift set up. It's really nice.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Hopefully that movie is going to be awesome.
Yep.
I want it to be.
This week on Real Nerds Podcast, James and I went and saw Jason Bourne. James, should people see Jason Bourne?
Yeah, I mean, if you like Paul Greengrass Jason Bourne movies, this is one. The plot is clearly scripted before they started filming, which is a new one for Paul Greengrass. But unfortunately, that also means it's kind of more annoying than the last two. I would say I need to rewatch Legacy. This might be my least favorite, but it still is it's the least of some really awesome action movies. So definitely worth checking out. Some really cool sequences, and I think Matt Damon does a good job. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I think, I think it's fun seeing Matt Damon be Jason Bourne again, and
Yeah.
the action scenes are pretty awesome.
Okay, there's a thing I wanted to complain about, but I can't. So
I
okay,
I know.
Right, yeah.
So the thing is that you either like Paul Greengrass's style or you don't, and I think sometimes he does suffer from that cut and the shaky camera.
Yes.
But when it comes to, I think sometimes car chase and stuff, he does a really good job.
Yes. Oh yeah. I mean, yeah.
So yeah, I think if you're a fan of the Matt Damon Bourne movies, then definitely see it.
If you have a real hard time with like super cliche spy moments, like lines of dialogue that are very if you really hate when people say enhance in a movie, you'll be bothered by this movie.
Yep. But
it's worth it.
Every time I see Alicia Vikander, though, I fall more in love with her.
Oh, she's really good.
She is. So here's the trailer for Jason Bourne.
I know who I am.
When we are finished with you, you'll no longer be yourself.
I remember. I remember everything.
Remembering everything doesn't mean you know everything.
Tell me. We've just been hacked. Could be worse than Snowden.
Facial recognition got a hit.
Jesus Christ, that's Jason Bourne.
Why would it come back now?
There's a demonstration in front of the Greek Parliament building. I think she'll use it as cover.
They tracked you. We gotta move.
He's seen things. He knows things. What if he's not coming for us? What if it's something else?
I volunteered because of a lie. This is Jason Bourne.
I need to talk.
32 kills. People are safer because of what you did.
So anyways, the biggest spoiler is that punch is cut differently.
Yeah, it's just a cross shot.
Yeah,
so
what the fuck?
It's not that the scene's not in the movie, but it is like.
But it loses the visceral.
It's a crotch shot?
No, it's a cross shot.
Okay.
It's the same moment, but shot from behind him instead of him coming
It loses
towards you.
like the impact.
It's not
of
as
it.
cool. It's just not as cool.
And you know what's funny is that happened at the beginning of the movie. It took me fucking out of the movie.
It totally did. I think I literally said before we either on this podcast or just in conversation before hey, as long as Dat Punch and Extreme Ways by Moby are in this movie, I'll like the movie. And then that didn't happen, and genuinely right after that I was like, shit, they're gonna change the end titles too.
Yep.
Which luckily they didn't. Still got Extreme Ways in it, but still.
But I still it took me out of the movie for a second.
Yeah.
I guess because I was so excited to see that punch.
Yeah.
Now it's just meh.
Yeah. So okay. So basically, it starts off and Jason Bourne is hanging around just outside of Greece, and he's like running around and making his money in fight clubs because he's completely off the grid, and the only thing he can make his money on is his ability to beat people up. And then Nikki comes back, and she's stolen information from the CIA, and she's like, "You need to know about this stuff," and it drags him back in, even though he just wants to be on the outside.
But the payoff is really cool in that, though.
Oh yeah. No, that sequence, the motorcycle chase thing, is a great sequence.
Yeah. And even the story through is, I think, really cool.
Yes.
When it's paid off at the very end.
Yeah. I wish they didn't reveal that assassin, really getting into spoilers here, right, seriously into spoilers. I wish they didn't reveal that assassin is the same assassin that
Yeah.
Right?
But see, I'm going more with the Alicia Vikander storyline. I think's great.
I think that the story is great in theory. I just don't think they quite do it. Like, if that were the main story, I would love it.
Yeah.
But it's got, this tacked-on Facebook subplot that...
Yeah. Do you think how Tommy Lee Jones looks bad in this movie?
He does look bad. I think he intentionally looks
Okay,
bad.
because it looks like he aged like 20 years.
Yeah, I don't think that he is about to die. I think that they intentionally have him sort of do up his,
haggard look.
Yeah, well, because she even has that line at the end where she talks about he's this very old guard. Like that's a part of his character. I don't know. Maybe I'm giving them too much credit. Maybe he looks bad.
But anyways, so Jason is pulled back in after spoilers, even more so after Nikki's murdered.
Yeah,
and so he's on a mission to find out why his dad volunteered him for Treadstone.
Yeah,
because it's a subplot that they tell you is, well, his dad was just an analyst. Oh no, wait, he was the one who was recruiting everybody, and why was his dad recruiting him to be in the program?
Right.
And it kind of goes in different ways, and
it ends up being a story about how his argument is that he signed up based on some things that he believed were true about his dad and about what he was told, and then some of that stuff isn't true.
That was the only part that didn't really work for me because I knew where they're going with it, where his dad was set up, and so that part didn't work for me.
Maybe that bugs me more than the okay. Maybe that's the problem.
I felt like it, and
I think you could do it. I think the reveal, especially that moment where he remembers and he suddenly sees the assassin in the van. I'm like, really? This is it just doesn't come together quite as well.
But I do like I love that. What I think the Bourne movies do really well is every time you think Jason Bourne's been set up, he's thought ahead.
Yes.
The part where he calls the dude in London to
go out to
get information from him, he already knows that he's going to be set up.
Right.
So he kind of pulls it off, and I do like too that he a lot of times with these characters, he has the dude in London and he tells him, what do you know? And because he's a hero of the film, a lot of times they're not going to make the choice to hurt that person or do something, but Bourne doesn't care.
Just shoots the guy.
He just shoots him. So I like that part.
Yeah.
I think Amy Lee was Alicia Vikander's character's name. I think she's really good.
Heather Lee, yeah.
Heather Lee. I love that woman. So
yeah.
And it was interesting when...
She does that role really well for the way that it's written, where, you really think, yes, they reveal earlier on, she's motivated in some parts by wanting to get more power and move up in the CIA.
Yeah, but I think it's handled really well where you think she's, a good person, and she realizes that the director, played by Tommy Lee Jones, is, setting her up.
Yeah.
And so she starts helping Bourne, and as the film plays on, she's still helping him, and I don't know what part I caught on to what she was doing. I want to say it was the part where the dude, Dreamscape or whatever the name of...
Deep Dream, the shittiest name for a social platform ever.
Well, that part of the story didn't work for me.
Yeah.
I think the idea is there where the government wants to use basically Mark Zuckerberg style character.
Yeah, but it also straight says that, the CIA funded his startup, and I was like, wait.
Yeah.
No, they didn't. That's not how that works.
Yeah, so that part didn't work for me. I mean, the payoff also didn't work.
Yeah. It's fascinating to me that, genuinely, right, Bourne Ultimatum, they were filming before they had the script.
Oh, yeah.
Right, that movie shouldn't work at all. And yet, when I compare this to either Supremacy or Ultimatum, which both have those same problems, where it's just, kind of hodgepodge together and it's kind of hard to follow sometimes, this is very... you understand the players and you understand the plot and where you're going, and for some reason it feels worse because so much of it is kind of corny and forced and
I think it
ripped
loses,
from the headlines in a lame way.
I think it loses some of the intrigue by having a plot where you expect it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You expect, the CEO of Facebook is, working with the government to spy on people, and you just...
Because in this one, there's moving parts to the plot, and in the past ones, there couldn't be a lot of moving parts because they couldn't put a script together, right?
Yeah.
It's just hey, why are they in the city, and why is this guy chasing them?
So it loses a lot of the intrigue.
Yes.
Where it got me back is where you find out that Heather Lee is actually using Jason Bourne to get him back into the CIA.
Yeah.
Because she has that one scene at the end where she's inside the car with the other guy from the CIA, and you realize that she's like really smart and manipulative, and she has really big ambitions, and she's using Jason Bourne as I guess she's using him as a platform to get what she wants.
Right.
And
it sort of it posits this idea that like that the system basically creates the kind of people that Jason Bourne's been fighting all these movies, right? Which is cool. It just, I mean, that's literally the last scene of the movie, right? Like, she's not actually the villain of the movie. Tommy Lee Jones is the whole time. And it definitely, if not for that scene, I probably would have walked away even more sour on this movie.
Me too.
Just because that showed some real, like, forethought, and especially because so much of that character's sequences are written so well in that context.
Yeah, no, I agree. So I thought the movie was fun. I had the motorcycle chase I really liked in Grease.
Yes.
The Vegas one,
Dude, but that SWAT car clearly had a plow on the front and shoved all the cars up into the air. That was so cool. I love that one just for the scene where he drives the car and lands it on the front of the SWAT truck, and then it slams into that marquee. Oh, like that was so cool.
When he finally got the asset underground, it's finally this fight I was waiting for.
Yeah.
Where it's just like a Jason Bourne fight where it's bare knuckles, it's dirty.
Yeah.
It's stabbing each other, then choking them out. I thought it was really badass.
Yeah. I will say, like, this one to me, I walk away with fewer like wow moments, right? Like there's not this, there isn't a book fight. There's not a pen fight,
and there's
like,
not a scene where he's jumping from one building through a window.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
It is, yeah. It's genuinely not as cool, and maybe because that punch isn't in it, right? Like if you started it off and you had more of that punch scenes, and you had that shot specifically, and it played really well in the movie. Oh man, like,
yeah, no, I agree, and I think because it didn't have like. The signature fight, I think, took so long to get to was the last action thing in the movie.
Right.
I think but I mean, I still think it's a cool movie. I don't think it's like horrible. I said at the beginning, you should see it if you're a fan of the Bourne movies.
Well, and specifically the Paul Greengrass ones, right? Like this is one of his, because when I go back to it, like I ended up yesterday rewatching Bourne Identity. As important as Bourne Supremacy is to movie action, I will all day long. Bourne Identity, like Doug Liman's movie, is way better.
I think so too.
Bourne is a real character. I think it is detrimental to the character that he only has 25 lines, even though he's a badass guy.
Yeah, I think so too. I think because he relies on other characters to carry the story.
Yeah,
where you want to, because he's obviously traumatized by his life as being an undercover spy.
Right.
And it's all done with, not that, I think Matt Damon is a great actor and he's acting fine.
Yeah.
But it's so internalized that you just wish that he would talk to somebody.
Yeah, I mean, the truth is Jason Bourne doesn't have much of an arc in this movie. Like, they tease you like he does. Like, oh, maybe he will go back and, he's got to find out this thing about his dad. But, when you go back to how amazing the Bourne Identity is, and like those scenes where he's sitting with Marie and he's like, I don't know, like this. I don't know who I am. Like those scenes are so good, and there's so much downtime, and so when the action scenes happen, that's part of why they're so memorable and cool.
Agree.
And I will say, even as good as the book fight is in Ultimatum, the pen fight in the first movie is so cool. And part of it is that Doug Liman doesn't put the camera Doug Liman doesn't do Paul Greengrass action scenes, right? He keeps the camera back, and it's this choreographed, amazing action scene where when a dude gets stabbed in the hand with a pen, it's gruesome. And I think that the end fight here is really cool. Maybe it's just I've seen it so much.
It's just you're right. It's just a stylistic choice.
Yeah.
Where I mean, Paul Greengrass, I think shooting wise, I think he does cool things.
Right.
But at the same time, it's one of your complaints about or Brad's
Star
Trek is it's so close.
It's the same style. I mean, there's moments here where the fight scene, what was really cool about it back when Supremacy came out was that it gave you this sort of visceral feeling that melee combat is just so rough and that was really cool then. And maybe I've just seen too much of it now, right? Maybe now I look at it and I want my action scenes to have a flow and to feel very real and to feel like I could just sit back, in like a Russo brothers kind of way, right?
Yeah, and people might snicker at this, but I think that's why the fight scene in Freddy vs. Jason works so well. Is the director? He even says in the commentary he purposely kept the camera on him, and left it there so you could feel everything they were doing,
right?
And it adds a layer of it makes it more visceral. You feel it, when it's really close. You're like, oh, did he just punch him?
Yeah.
When the camera spins and stuff,
right?
And
it almost makes them feel like superheroes now, where it's like they feel like the Flash. It's like they're moving faster than reality.
Yeah.
Whereas when you see the opening fight from Winter Soldier, which is so good.
Oh yeah.
And the Russo brothers just hold the camera way back across the ship, and you're watching these two guys just have it out. It looks so cool, and it actually feels
because
almost more brutal.
I thought you were special. I'm just a kid from Brooklyn. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I genuinely do think it's a taste thing. I
do too.
When Supremacy came out, it was a huge deal. Like, I remember being floored by that movie, and I should go back and watch and see if the style's just sloppier now, right? Like if there was something he was doing there that was so specific that now just doesn't work as well,
because it is,
or if it's just
choice.
taste.
Because when he shoots dialogue, he really doesn't do it too often. His camera's pretty stationary, and it's his action stuff.
And I think he used to do it more. Like, when I think back to those movies, I feel like he did.
Yeah, I haven't watched him in a while.
Cut between like different angles and stuff like that a bit more. I think it's
fun.
it's a fun movie. It's interesting. Like, it wasn't the amazing return of Jason Bourne that maybe you would have hoped it would be.
Yeah.
And certainly doesn't like make me feel like, oh yeah, they should go make another trilogy. Honestly, I'm kind of like, well, yeah, I mean, I wanted Bourne Legacy to be better. Like, I was cool with that idea. So I don't know. Yeah,
I'll watch it again.
Oh yeah. I'll buy it. I mean, I own Bourne Legacy, and I need to rewatch that now, just so I can figure out like
how you feel about it.
Yeah,
I'm in the same boat. I feel like I should watch it again because I so disliked it when I saw it.
Yeah, see, I didn't. So I remember like I like the action scenes, and I like some of the plot. I hated that he was like suddenly a genetically modified spy or whatever. Like that, I didn't like. The biggest problem with that movie for me is that it just ends. Right?
Yep.
Like, I remember sitting in the theater and just being like, "What are you doing?
Yep.
You're rolling the credits to get them out of the way, right? Like, why? What is happening here?" Like that's the reason why it's probably the worst one, is just because it's so incomplete.
Yep.
And did so poorly that they weren't going to make another one. Honestly, I feel like they should have gotten Tony Gilroy to come back and write this one, and then just let Paul Greengrass direct it, because they probably would have wound up with something better. Because his ability to pull off what he did with I think 3. I think he was on 3. I'm pretty sure he was on 2. I think he was on 3 too. As a writer, the fact that he was able to put together a script that was like, okay, you've got these action scenes in random places. I'll put you a story together that gets
how we get there.
Yeah, like I don't know. At some point, he's got to be running across a roof.
It's got to be a tough assignment.
Go film like Julia Stiles running down some alleys, and I'll make it work. Don't worry. That's so impressive, and similarly, I think there's some cool stuff in Legacy. This one is just genuinely like there's some dumb spy moments in this movie, like, oh, there's a phone in the room. I can hack and delete all the files. I wanted to throw something at the screen. I was so mad at that moment because I was like, why are you talking down to me?
Yeah.
If you're going to have characters say things like, we'll use SQL to break their database, don't even put the translation there, right? Like, just have them speaking in Greek. Like, I don't need to know that you can write the most stupid computer dialogue you can think of. Use the database language to do database work. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, no, I agree. But I'd say about 70% of the movie really works for me.
Yeah.
15% I'm on board with, and then the other 15% I could take or leave it.
Yeah, it's at its worst, it's in a way. At its best, it's just there.
Yeah.
And that's, whatever. It's fine.
So next week is it make or break for the DC Entertainment Universe? Well, no, because they have 2 more movies coming out.
No, yeah. If this doesn't work and then Wonder Woman doesn't work, it's break.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll straight say, if not for this podcast, if I were a regular moviegoer, if this movie didn't work, I don't even know if I would go to Wonder Woman.
Yeah, I think this movie will, though. Everything I've heard about it and what I've seen, I think should be. And the director is really great.
I keep saying they prove it because that's what everyone was saying about Batman vs Superman, and then the studio fucked up that theatrical release. Like, until I see the movie, I won't believe anything I hear.
So I hopefully it will.
Yeah,
I mean it's tracking really well. So obviously they'll make money on it.
Oh yeah. I mean it's already set to like break premiere records and shit like that, but
which is good. And it's basically when I look at it, it's DC's Guardians of the Galaxy, where besides Harley and Batman and the Joker, you're taking people like Killer Croc. I mean, we all know who he is.
Yeah.
But
okay.
I'm down.
Has anybody else noticed that there's totally a shot where Katana cuts Killer Croc's head in half in the trailer?
No, I think those are the things that the Enchantress puts out because
They're like
Harley
Ash demons or something.
Yeah, because Harley has a scene too where she's like shooting them and their like heads blowing up.
Okay,
right? Yeah,
that might make because there's just this weird shot. It's a very quick thing, and it's like this scaly looking thing that has a knife go through it, and it's in every trailer. And I keep thinking like, is that what they're showing us? Because that would be terrible. Because I think in the Assault on Arkham thing, it's not Killer Croc, it's Shark Tooth or whatever.
King Shark.
Yeah, like he ends up turning bad or something like that, and I think so.
Yeah.
I don't know. So I think that's why it's just in my mind is like, because I just want them to make a live action Assault on Arkham.
I'm pretty sure that's what it is.
Right.
Because they even have the helicopter crash and stuff. I'm like,
Yeah.
They basically took that story.
Yeah.
That's cool.
If she has sex with Will Smith, like again, that would just be weird. If they just reshoot the sex scene from Focus, but they're both wearing like DC costumes, it's gonna be that's gonna be bizarre.
It's gonna be interesting.
Yeah. Cool.
So until next week.
Bye.
Real Nerds is a Nebulous Visions multimedia production. We would also like to thank Sparks Mandrill for our music. Additional music from Ben Sounds. Thank you to Alamo Drafthouse. Thank you to Colorado Coins, Cards, and Comics. And thank you for listening to the Real Nerds Podcast.